Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ritu Verma and I'm your own biology facilitator. Here I am with all my new teaching sessions which will help you guys learn biology in the most effective and simplest way by sitting at home. In this particular video, I'm going to start with Unit 1 classification from Cambridge IGCSE Biology and the paper code is 0610. At the end of each unit, we're also going to discuss some of the past paper questions, which will help you guys in a quick recap or revision of the unit. Okay, so let's begin. Unit 1 classification. Before we go further, first you should know what is the meaning of classification and what is its importance. Classification is actually a process of systematic arrangement of organisms into groups based on similar characteristics or features shared by them. Okay, so previously when scientists, they have started studying about all living organisms, what were the different types of living organisms present on the earth, what they have done based on the similar characteristics of features shared by different organisms. So they have put them into one similar group. For example, if I'll give you a box full of balls, okay, there are different types of balls in the box, and I'll ask you to uh, categorize categorize these balls into different groups. So what are the different criteria which you will use? Okay, for example, you can use size of the ball. So balls of similar sizes, you place in one particular group. Okay, you can also use color of the balls. So balls of similar colors you place in one group, or you can also use, like some balls are plain, some balls are printed. So balls of similar pattern or design you place in one particular group. Okay, so what you are doing here is you have chosen a criteria, and this criteria is based on the similar characteristics or features shared by all these balls. Okay, so similarly what scientists have done based on the similar characteristics of features shared by different living organisms, they have placed all living organisms into different groups. Okay, now what is the importance of classification? Classification actually makes it easy to study such a large group of organisms. Now when we talk about number of organisms on earth, there are like billions or trillions of organisms, even more than that. Okay, so it should be easy for us to identify these organisms and study the features, structural, morphological, or anatomical features of these organisms. So classification makes it easier for us to study such a large group of organisms. And another very important point is classification also helps in understanding the interrelationship between different organisms. For example, there are two different groups. So and there are okay, for example, there are two different groups. So if we want to study, if you want to think about the similar characteristics, or if you want to think about the differences between these two group organisms of these two groups, so classification helps with that. Classification helps us in understanding the interrelationship between organisms of two different groups. Okay, now when I am talking about characteristics of features shared by all living organisms, so you should know there are 7 universal characteristics or 7 universal features of life. Okay, they are also known as characteristics of life. All living organisms which are present on this earth. Okay, so all living organisms must possess these 7 characteristics of life in order to be called as a living organism. Okay, so the 7 characteristics are there's a short abbreviation for it, Mrs. Gren. Okay, here it is, Mrs. Gren. So M refers to movement, R for respiration, S for sensitivity, G for growth, R for reproduction, E for excretion, and N for nutrition. Fine. So these 7 characteristics of life are universal. The meaning of universal is they are present in all the living organisms present on this earth, whether they are plant, they are animal, fungus, or any other group they belong to, whether they are unicellular or multicellular. These 7 characteristics of lives you will find in each and every living organism present on this earth. Okay. First characteristic of life is movement. So movement is defined as an action by an organism causing a change in its position or place of that particular organism. Okay. So whenever an organism moves, okay, either there'll be a change in the place of that organism, or there'll be change in the position of body part of any organism. Okay. Now, when we talk about animals, like for example, human beings, dog, cat, or any other animal. Okay. So all these animals, they when they move, they change their position. They can change their position. They can change, by sitting at one place, they can change the position of their body part, or they can also change their place. So when animal moves from one place to another place, that's also known as locomotion. Now in the right side picture here, you can see the leaves of a particular plant. This plant is known as touch me not plant. The botanical name of this plant is Mimosa pudica. Okay, so this plant is actually highly sensitive to touch. So the moment any person touches the leaves of this plant with any of its body part, the leaves, they fold up. Okay, you can see here on the right side of the screen, the leaves fold up on touching with fingers. Okay, so this is one of the example of movement in plants. Apart from this, there are many other examples of movement in plants, which you will learn in another unit called coordination and responses. There comes geotropism, phototropism, and all, movement under the influence of gravity, movement under the influence of light, etc. So about that, you will learn in coordination and responses. Second characteristic is respiration. Now, respiration you have already studied in your class 7, lower class, grade 7. It's a process in which the cells of a body, okay, cells of a body releases energy by using glucose in presence or absence of oxygen. So you have studied in your lower classes, the respiration is of two types. When it occurs in presence of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. And when it occurs in absence of oxygen, it's called anaerobic respiration. Okay. And which particular substrate molecule is used here? I mean, what is used in from which particular food molecule? Food molecule our cells release energy, that's glucose. So this 1 mark question is sometimes asked in IGCSE paper. You should be clear about this, that what is the substrate molecule in process of respiration. So the substrate molecule is glucose. Okay. And the energy which is released in the process of respiration is used in various life processes in the body. Okay, for example, our body performs excretion, it performs digestion, absorption, transportation of materials throughout the body. So everything requires energy. Okay, and from where does we get this energy? This energy we receive or we get from the process of respiration. Now, this process of respiration is again universal. As I said earlier, even a single cell, amoeba, paramecium, or bacteria, they all perform respiration. Third characteristic is sensitivity. Before you understand sensitivity, you should understand the meaning of stimuli. So any change which occurs in the internal or external environment of any organism is known as stimuli. For example, you enter inside a room and you feel it's very hot. So you switch on AC. Okay. For example, you have switched on AC at 20 degrees Celsius temperature. So after a few minutes, what will happen? The air present in the room will get cool. And when there is this change in the temperature of room from hot to cold, you can easily sense that. You can easily feel that change, isn't it? So this change in the temperature of air around you in the room is actually known as stimuli. So the ability of our body to detect any change in its surrounding environment and then making appropriate responses to it is called sensitivity. It's not only about human beings, all the animals or all the plants, every organism present on this earth are able to perform sensitivity. Okay, they're able to detect any changes in their environment, and hence after detecting these changes, they make appropriate responses to it. I'll show you one example. This side, on the left side of the screen, you can see, this person by mistake has touched the hot object. Okay, so the moment the person has touched the hot object like this, immediately the person has removed his fingers. Okay, so here what was the stimuli? Hot object was the stimuli. Okay, because there was a change in temperature around his fingers. Hot object was the stimuli, and what was the appropriate response? The person has immediately removed his finger. Similarly, if you see this sensitive plant, Mimosa pudica, again, when the moment a person has touched the leaves, okay. So what was the stimuli here? The sense of touch. The sense of touch was the stimuli, and what was the appropriate response by the plant? The leaves were folded up. isn't it? The leaves were folded up. Okay, so this is called sensitivity. Now, when we talk about this IGCSE paper, sometimes they give examples like this in the questions, and they ask you to state the stimuli. What is the stimuli, and what is the appropriate response given by the organism? Fourth, fourth characteristic of life is growth. So growth is very simple to understand. Whenever there is a permanent increase in size or dry mass of a body, it is called growth. Now, what is the cause of this permanent increase? When there is increase in cell number or cell size or both. Okay, so that causes growth in the body. Reproduction. So reproduction is a process in which an organism produces new organisms of its own kind or same species. This point is very important. Until and unless you don't write this particular term, own kind or same species, in its definition, you will never be awarded marks in IGCSE papers. So you have to remember this, okay? It's a process in which an organism produces new offsprings of their own kind or same species. The meaning is, for example, a human being cannot give birth to a lion's baby, okay, or to a baby elephant. That's not possible. A particular organism can give birth to a new offspring or new organism of the same species. Okay, so this is called reproduction. Next is excretion. Again, a very important characteristic of life. Here I have marked with the, this red color, with red color ink I have marked. You must remember this metabolic waste. So excretion is defined as removal of metabolic waste from the body. Or you can also learn removal of toxic materials or substances present in excess from the body produced as a result of metabolic reactions is called excretion. Okay, so our body, inside the cells of our body, many reactions are going on, and these cellular reactions are known as metabolic reactions. So as a result of these metabolic reactions, many excretory products are produced. Okay, so removal of these excretory products, which are produced as a result of metabolic reactions from a body, is known as excretion. Now, some of the examples of excretion in animals and plants are, when we talk about animals, in the process of respiration, our body produces carbon dioxide gas. So this carbon dioxide gas is actually an excretory product for our body. Okay, so we exhale this carbon dioxide gas in outside the lungs. So removal of carbon dioxide in exhaled air. Then sweat. When we produce sweat, when our body's temperature increases. Okay, so just to cool our body again, our skin produces sweat. So the sweat is also consist of excretory products, like some salts are present in the sweat. Okay, even this uric acid which our body produces, which our kidneys produces, that a little amount of uric acid is also present in sweat. Then removal of nitrogen waste from kidneys in the form of urine. Okay, this you will learn about this. You will learn in excretion chapter in detail about deamination. So the removal of excess of nitrogen waste from the kidney is also an example of excretion. Okay. Now, when we talk about plants, in plants, gaseous waste are produced during photosynthesis. Oxygen gas is produced. So you know that from where we get this oxygen in the environment, from plants. So oxygen is produced as a result of photosynthesis in plants, and it is a waste product for plants. So plants releases them into the air. Then then obviously respiration is a universal process. So plants also produces carbon dioxide gas during respiration. So they release it. They also release it in the air. Okay. Then apart from that, you might have seen some of the plants, they produce white color liquid, okay, milk like liquids, that is called latex. Then some of the plants, they produces resin and saps. So this resin, sap, latex produced by plants are all excretory products. Last characteristics of life is nutrition. Now you're already aware, like nutrition you have studied in your lower classes. It's a process of taking in of materials from environment and using them for releasing energy, growth and development. So in the process of nutrition, actually all living organisms, they eat food. For example, if we talk about human beings, we eat food, okay, and collect and try extract nutrients from it, and later on these nutrients are actually used in the process of releasing energy, growth and development. Okay, animals need organic compounds like fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins and mineral ions, whereas plants perform photosynthesis to produce glucose and also absorbs ions from the soils. Okay, more about nutrition you will learn in further units. About all these characteristics of life, actually in detail, you will learn in every single unit. Okay. One point you have to remember is that mostly on this particular topic, that is characteristics of life, in IGCSE paper, questions are asked in paper 1 or paper 2, that is multiple choice questions. Okay. Sometimes in paper 4 also, paper 3 also, they ask you to define these particular characteristics of life. So when they ask you to define, sometimes the definition is asked for 1 mark, or sometimes 2, or sometimes 3 marks. So just remember, when they've asked for 1 mark, you should write at least one valid point about these definitions. Okay, when it is asked for 2 marks, you should write at least 2 valid points. And when they ask for 3 marks, okay, at least you should write 3 valid points about these definitions. For example, if we're talking about nutrition, and the definition of nutrition is asked for 3 marks. Okay, so what you can write is, first point you might, first marks you'll be awarded for, like, it's a process of taking enough materials from environment and using them for releasing energy, growth, and development. 1 mark you will get. Okay, then next, like, animals, they need organic compounds like fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins and minerals ions, like this. Or sometimes some of the marking schemes, they even consider only these 3 terms, like releasing energy, 1 mark, growth, 2 mark, and development, 3 mark. Okay, so you must remember that you have to learn these definitions exactly as per the IGCSE guidelines. Okay, thank you. And more about this particular unit, the next we'll learn in the next videos. Take care till then. Bye bye.